Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is a very good friend, Bart Brands. Bart is a precious metals specialist at Gold Republic and a certified security intelligence professional. Welcome back, Bart.
Ivan, it's great to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to see you as always. Whenever you come on, it's a breath of fresh air. I wanted to get you down to talk about, some new stuff. Usually we talk about how's silver and gold doing. I kind of want to change up the questions and say, what's your opinion on the future of gold and silver? Do you see any big trends or disruptions on the horizon?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, let me say I think there is an inevitability when it comes to the reintroduction of a gold standard. It is such a good way to measure value. It's such a good way to design a monetary system. So we will go back to a gold standard. And I think if you combine a gold standard with a fixed gold silver ratio, then that would mean that we would not only be able to use precious metals as currency again, just as currency in your pocket, gold coins, silver coins, maybe in the form of gold backs that you can just uh, exchange and carry with you in your wallet, but also combined with new technology, you could move large amounts of precious metals using maybe blockchain technology. So you can prove you are the legal owner of a certain amount of precious metals. So I think the reintroduction of a gold standard, it is inevitable. So it's not even a if question, it is a when question. The when is a very good question. I would not be able to answer that question, but I'm thinking that seeing the destruction that our current monetary system is creating all over the world. So it's not just a European or an American situation. It is a worldwide situation, and you can see this destruction based on ambition and corruption. And gold, as I tell in my book, Chaos Without Gold, um, you can know for certain that if you reintroduce a gold standard, all that corruption and all its outflows, social, cultural, will die in an instant.
If you could take a guess right now, because a lot of people in the silver and gold, industry know that, there's some form of manipulation, whether it's in the paper markets or, somewhere along the line, there's some manipulation, whether it's at
Oh yeah.
at the higher level, big banks, pushing down the price of silver and gold. Let's say there was no manipulation and the true value of gold and silver. What do you think is the real price of gold right now and the real price of silver if there was no manipulation and none of that in the markets?
Well, that's a very good question. And if I knew the answer, I would, of course, speculate on that outcome. But what I can say is, for example, the gold to silver ratio. So if you take a look at this ratio, it's the ratio in which it is produced or comes out of the ground is mined. 1 in 8, 1 in 9, right? So if you take a natural price of gold versus silver, and you take this ratio, then silver would be astronomically more than it is right now.
Right.
If you then also take into account that silver, even though it is a precious metal, most people will say it's a semi-precious metal because it corrodes slightly, just in a tiny, tiny bit. But because it's used in these microscopically small amounts, um, there are trash heaps all over the world that contain hundreds of millions of ounces of silver put together. And for to be able to recycle that, the price would have to at least, let's say, 10x before you can do urban mining.
Right.
Take into account that which erodes or corrodes away, then silver is such a precious and rare metal that to And if you also take into account, of course, manipulation. A couple of days ago, I think there was an article on Reddit where someone said it's 500 million ounces were dropped in an instant or something.
Yeah,
And I've seen those patterns, right? So we know that manipulation is taking place on a super large scale. Well, if you take all these factors into account, then I would say that not I will not do a price prediction because I just don't. I
right.
don't know what the price is going to be, but I do know that if something breaks, because it will break, nothing that cannot last forever lasts forever. So if it breaks or when it breaks, you want to be in silver because people will scramble to and then be they will return to the obvious, and that is that silver is highly precious. It is highly precious, and
Yeah.
everyone needs to have it in their portfolio. And the same for gold, of course, because the gold paper to physical ratio is about 1 in 100. If an ETF breaks because it's pooled gold or it's a derivative of a derivative, then you just know that a lot of people are going to scramble to get that physical metal in their ownership, in their legal ownership, and then you have to people will just pay whatever someone is asking,
Yeah.
and that
If
will also destroy the currency, of course.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Absolutely. If you could redesign the gold and silver markets from scratch, what would you keep and what would you change?
Well, I would say a 100% coverage would be mandatory. So if you have a bank and your bank says it has, let's say, 100 ounces of gold, then it would need to be able to prove that it has 100 ounces of gold. And that
Right.
is, I think, where new technologies really kick in because you are no longer dependent on a auditor that visits one time a year, that takes a subtle count of, oh, this is how much it seems to be. You can just use, let's say, blockchain technology or camera surveillance, or you can use all these new technologies that we have now to make sure that the physical gold is allocated 100%. Of course, also, and that is a technology that we use, and we are the only one, Gold Republic is the only one that uses, is the daily transfer of legal ownership of that precious metal. And that is, I think those type of technologies are really going to kick in, or could be really useful if we redesign a new gold standard. And then, of course, you have to find a ratio in which gold and silver are measured against each other. You could have that float and let the free market decide, of course.
Right.
But we do know that that ratio of now, I think 1 in 90 is far from realistic. So I think the let's say 1500-year average of 1 in 15, maybe 1 in 25 is much more accurate when it comes to the valuation of gold to silver.
If you're a gold owner, you already know about all the ways precious metals can hedge yourself against financial instability. Monetary Metals is revolutionizing how people can invest in gold and silver. Right now, there's opportunities for you to earn 4% interest on your gold paid in gold in their marketplace. Now is the time to secure your wealth in an asset that the government can't inflate away. Join thousands of investors earning interest in physical gold and silver every single month with Monetary Metals. Grow your gold over time so that you're not just preserving, but growing your wealth in an asset that can't get inflated away by just printing more money. Visit the link in the description below to get started now. Now, you're at Gold Republic, you work there. Can you share with us some insights or some market sentiment that you're seeing right now in precious metals? Like, what are you seeing? What are you noticing?
Yeah, well, first of all, our turnover is skyrocketing. Really, it is. I've been saying this for a couple of years because it's been true for a couple of years. But the rate of acceleration is also increasing. So let's say a year ago we had a plus 10%, and now we see a plus 10% in the first quarter. And then that would mean that if we continue this acceleration, then at the end of the year, we would have a 25, 30, 40% increase of turnover.
What does that
Um,
mean, turnover?
well, turnover, the rate in which people buy precious metals at Gold Republic.
Wow.
And that has everything to do, I think, with the current sentiment, cultural sentiment as well, where people are just losing their trust in the current monetary system because everybody can see it's failing. You
Yeah.
cannot see you cannot not see it's failing. Except for a couple people that are, they are either indoctrinated or, that they just stick their head in the sand. They don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Everybody is seeing what's happening, and people are taking action, and they are buying gold and silver and also platinum in the last, let's say, 2, 3 months.
Yeah.
People have also poured into platinum, and you can see that because it's had a plus 40, 45% in 2 months. So people are really starting to, in larger amounts, but also in accelerated fashion, are turning to precious metals.
Can you share the most common mistakes that you're seeing right now for new investors when they come into silver and gold, when they get started with getting in this market? What are a few common mistakes you're seeing right now?
Well, that's an amazing question. Really great question. And I don't want to talk in mistakes. I just want to say I have three tips, or you could say three things I think you need to take into account when investing in precious metals. First of all, only invest with an amount that you don't need for a while,
Right.
right? And with a while, I mean not days, weeks, months, but years. So, for example, if you want to invest in gold, right, then you need to take into account that gold has an average of 10% gains in the past 25 years when measured in euros per kilogram. The same for silver, by the way. But that means that with the investing cost, and because it's physical, it always is a little bit more expensive than when you buy an ETF. But you don't want to buy an ETF because if it breaks, then you lose everything.
Right.
So keep into account that you want to invest with funds that you can miss for a while. Secondly, I think this is really is a long-term investment. It is a long-term investment in which I would say take into account not your own life, but see if you can build generational wealth.
Yeah.
Because gold and silver are the most um, well-equipped of all investments that can build generational wealth. There is nothing that even comes close to the shadow of gold and silver when it comes to building generational wealth. So take into account generations because it also switches your mindset into thinking not for yourself, which I think is fine, but think kids,
Yeah.
grandkids. And the third thing I think is really important to take into account is dollar cost average. So, of course, if you have no gold, you have to buy gold. If you have no silver, you have to buy silver. It doesn't matter what it costs. You have to invest. I always say this, if you have no gold, even if it's 100K kilogram, even if it's $10,000 an ounce, doesn't matter. Buy some. But after that, so you take, let's say, 10% of your available funds for
Right.
investing in precious metal, buy it directly. The 90% that you have left, dollar cost average into a position. And also don't think dollar amount. Think grams, ounces, kilograms, pounds. Think in those terms and not in what is my precious metal worth in a currency that's going to zero guaranteed. So I think those three tips are I think ways to structure your investment, really think about your investment. And then, of course, last, fourth, and is make sure that you know that, first of all, if you uh, use an organization just like Gold Republic, for example, but any organization, make sure it's a legit organization and make sure that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't, and gold is simple, right? It's honest, it's simple. I can explain it to a 3-year-old. Same with silver, but you have to know what you're investing in because if you don't trust it, you will get wrecked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you so much, Bart, for that advice because I think it's really crucial for new people getting into this market. Now, before you leave, I really want people to connect with you. I want people to follow Gold Republic. I'll put the links in the description below, but where can people follow your work, Bart?
Thanks, Ivan, and I see you following me on Instagram as well. So thank you for the likes
Yeah, no problem.
on my stories
I
and
see I see the cigars and I'm like, yes.
yeah, I really enjoy my cigars. Yeah. So people can follow me on Instagram as of course it's also my personal life. So if you don't want to follow that, you can follow the Instagram channel of Gold Republic. We do have both Dutch and English spoken content there. We have a Dutch and an English spoken YouTube channel as well. That's Gold Republic and Gold Republic Global. I'm on Twitter as well, also more somewhat personal, but also, of course, a lot about gold, silver, platinum, and everything macroeconomic and geopolitical.
Well, thank you so much, Bart. I love having you down to speak to the silver and gold community. And everyone watching this, highly recommend. Please go follow Gold Republic. Please go check out Bart's Instagram. The link's in the description below. And yeah, Bart, as always, love to have you back on in the future. I know the precious metals market is always changing and always, so interesting to look at. So I'd love to have you back on in the future.
Ivan, I'm always happy to help out, and I enjoy our conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.